Welcome back to another RPO College Football Podcast. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones, and we're here with the man, the myth, the legend. You already know who he is, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
Doing good, man. Before we get started, obviously, we're going to be talking about some positional players and top fives and whatever. But before we get started, I want to let you know that we are officially a Phenom affiliate, Phenom partner. So this is powered by Phenom, as you see at the top. So make sure you go help us out and go to Phenom, PhenomEliteBrand.com. If you want any fresh football gear, they got gloves, they got cleats, they got shirts, they got towels, whatever you need, they got it right over in PhenomEliteBrand.com. And if you go in there, you can get 10% off if you use that promo code right over there in that corner. ITH Football. Save you some cash if you want to save some cash, man, because times are hard, man. You got to save cash any kind of way you can. So make sure you go check that out. PhenomEliteBrand.com. So we appreciate Phenom for sponsoring us. But today we're going to get into, again, the top five players in the college football. Today we're going to be doing offensive line, so we're going to start off with tackles and do interior. Before we get started, Ray, what's your thoughts on the overall position as a whole?
I think it's solid. I don't think there's any upside like first top five type players, but I think there's guys that will be taking from the middle rounds on. I mean, it's a good solid class, though, for sure.
Now, if you're looking at a team-wise, I know a lot of people are really high on the Georgia offensive line. Any offensive line unit that kind of like sticks up to you?
Georgia and Alabama.
Yeah.
Alabama, I can tell you. What's that?
As bad as Alabama was last year?
Their offensive line really wasn't a problem. Their defense wasn't as good. And their skill players were not great last year. They were okay. Their offensive line is pretty good, though.
Gotcha.
That was why they were a top. I think they were like one of the top rushing teams in college football last year. That plus the quarterback's very athletic. It's like Lamar Jackson, dude. Baltimore's always a top 2 or 3 rushing team. Yeah, because the quarterback gets between 900 and 1,100 yards every year.
I need a Lamar Jackson counter on this podcast each time I get on with you.
No, that was a good comment, though. I mean, his athleticism is where he shines. And again, Baltimore is a very good run team, but their quarterback does contribute a lot of that.
No, I hear you here. I'm not with you, right?
No, I know. You think I have it in for Lamar Jackson.
Not that you have it in for it. You just always have to mention when we talk at it.
I get so much flack for it, though, man. I do. I mean, I deserve it, though. I'm a big boy. I can take it.
Well, let's get into it, right? We're going to do our top 5 offensive tackles. Now, again, right, I'm not the best at looking at this position, offensive lineman. I say this every year. So I'm going to lean a lot more heavy on you. I do have a list. I don't have a rising star, so it's going to be completely up to you to find a rising star. But I'm going to start with you. We're going to go from 5 all the way to 1. So, Ray, let's get right into it. Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is Wyatt Millam from West Virginia, a 6'6", 320-pound kid. Probably definitely a day 2 pick, but a very long, athletic-looking guy. Of course, I always like to know what his arm length. Arm length looks solid, but I have no numbers on that. So,
got you. My number 5 guy is Johnny Cornelius from Oregon. So, Ray, do you have him on your top 5?
I do not, but he would be right. If I had a 5B, he probably would have been there. He's very good, and Oregon does produce offensive linemen for sure. So,
100%, yeah, they usually do. And not a lot of people really know about it, but yeah,
they're always a pretty good offense. So really, if you're a good offense, you probably have at least solid line play.
100%. Yeah, I really do think that, a lot of people don't look at Oregon as an offensive offensive line type of school, but they do produce some good offensive line.
Yeah, man, I think Peninsula is going to be a top 5 offensive tackle in the league for 10 years.
Yeah, and they had who was the one before him that was real big? I think it's the same year as Lane Johnson, right?
Lane Johnson, no. I think Lane. Why do I think Lane Johnson went to like Texas or something?
No, Lane Johnson went to Oklahoma. I'm saying in the same draft.
Oh yeah, same draft. Yeah, I'm a big Lane Johnson fan though.
I'm trying to remember who the offensive lineman that came out the same year as him from Oregon. I can't remember right now. Maybe not Luke Jokel. No, I know it was Lane Johnson, Luke Jokel, and one other guy. Oh, Eric Fisher.
Oh yeah. You know what though? Derek Fisher's just he's good.
Yeah.
He's just one of them. He's a technically sound offensive lineman.
Correct.
You know?
Definitely. All right, Ray, let's get to your number 4.
Number 4 is Emory Jones from LSU. A kid who he's got the athleticism, he's got the size. I would like to see more like a better motor from him, a guy who plays with more tenacity. But if he had that, then he'd be almost perfect because he's 6'6", 320 pounds, 25 pounds. So he's got all of that going for him. I need a little bit of a mean streak in him, though.
Mm-hmm.
If I get that, then I think I get the complete package.
Nice. I got Jonah Mohim from USC there also, Ray. Tell me a little bit about him if you don't have him on your list.
I don't have him on my list, but again, if we were doing a top 10, he would be in that top 10. You know, I just think that like it's a deep offensive tackle class.
Yeah.
Matter of I worry about worry about Ernest Green only because he's only 6'4". Now, if he has long arms, that's not a problem. But if he doesn't, then that means he's going to get kicked inside somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, and that happens a lot in college football where you have a tackle who plays good as a tackle, but they get kicked inside for it just because it's based on armless and things like that. So we'll definitely see. All right, number 3, right here you got.
I have Ernest Green. He's one of the guys I'm talking about. Like he goes to Georgia, very good offensive lineman, very athletic. 6'4". I don't worry about 6'4" as long as his arm length is 33 plus arms, but I don't know that right now. But he's very athletic. Georgia is a very athletic offensive lineman, so he's one of them.
Definitely. Now our list is completely different. My number 3 guy is Darius Washington from FSU. Do you have him in your top 5, Ray?
I do not.
Okay.
Again, if I were to expand my list, I would have him in there. Here's the thing, Jerome. I think I lean towards guys' draft stock. If I have them a little bit rated a little bit higher, and if I have 2 guys that are like similar like traits, I will take the guy who I think may be taken a little bit higher because of some reason.
Gotcha. All right, number 2.
Number 2, Kelvin Banks from Texas. Another kid. Texas's offensive line was really good last year. He's very physical. Again, 6'4". So we'll see about the arm length, but a first-round prospect for sure.
I understand. We probably got one the same. Calvin Banks as well. And number 2 is Spray. Same. Really heavy running team. Able to really get out there and get those really good run blocks on him. I like you said, Ray. Definitely a number 1 first round type of player right here. So we'll definitely see how he does this year, but I think so as well, Ray. And number 1
is Will Campbell from LSU. Now, he's a junior, so he doesn't have to come out this year, but he is the one guy that could probably be either a top 10 or top 15 pick.
Okay.
Very athletic, LSU again. Very athletic. He's the left tackle. No, that Emory Jones plays right tackle. He plays left tackle. But again, Will Campbell is really the whole package. He's long. He's athletic. I can tell you he's going to have plus 32-inch arms just by watching his game film. And again, he's easily a first round top 15 pick. So
Definitely. Yeah, I got him at number one as well, Ray. And I agree with everything you're saying. Really, really good player. Both run and pass, real big guy, strong. I like his footwork. Um, and I think it's funny you got two LSU guys on your list, which is funny. You got both in, so tells me what you think about their offensive line for sure.
no, I think LSU's offensive line is good. I mean, it's the one thing about Brian Kelly, when he recruits, he does recruit linemen.
Yeah.
He always has. Even when he was at Notre Dame, he
Yeah,
always recruited good, especially offensive linemen.
yeah. Notre Dame always came with some really good offense.
So now you see that following suit with LSU, and LSU is a very athletic team. We won't get into where we think they're going to be this year. I don't think they're going to be as good this year as they were last year, to be honest with you. But we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. I forgot who's their backup. I mean, not their backup now, but the new starter.
Yeah, I don't know that for sure. I can probably find that out though.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's on the tip of my tongue, but Newsomer.
Yeah. Again, anybody who goes in after Dane, what Daniels did last year, is probably going to be a step down, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly has not been a coach that drafts elite quarterbacks usually. I think he kind of lucked into him. So
Definitely. All right, let's get to your rising star, Ray. Who do you have as the rising star?
I have as Xavier Miller from Auburn. He is a guy who's long, looks very athletic. Core strength needs to improve because he's really a good pass blocker, but he doesn't look as good blocking for the run. But again, he has all the traits. He has the size. In other words, like what I said about Emory Jones earlier, I need him to play with a little bit more tenacity, like a little bit of a mean streak.
Interesting. No, I agree. I like that. I like that one. All right, let's get to our interior offensive linemen. These are going to be guards and centers. So we grouped all those into one. So let's get right into it, Ray. Your number 5 guy. Who you got?
Now I do have a 5B here, and
Okay.
that's only because again, one is a guard and one's a center. I have Jaden Roberts, junior offensive lineman from Alabama. Plays guard. Has played a little center. Played a little tackle in high school. So he's very athletic. He's a 6'5", 315-pound kid. So he's very good as far as an interior offensive lineman. And I have Parker Balesford. Was that?
Is that any relation?
No idea. No. I don't mind the last name, but But I have Parker Balesford from a center from Alabama. Again, you're going to see Alabama is pretty prevalent on the offensive line, especially interior. But Balesford is a guy who wasn't the starter to start the year last year. By the end of the year, he's one of the best centers in college football. So,
yeah, I actually got him on my list as well, Ray. I don't have him at 5, but he's gonna be on there. I'm gonna go to my number 4 guy, and that's gonna be Ollie Cox from Kentucky. A guy I like a little bit. Ray, can you tell me a little bit more about him, though?
I like him. I think that Kentucky, he's more of a run blocker than a pass blocker right now, but that makes sense. Kentucky's a running team.
Right.
I don't have him in my – again, if we were expanding top 10, I would have him in there. But I don't know where he's going to be drafted right now. I need to see a lot more consistency. Not that he's not a good player. He is good. But I need to be consistent on down to down. So
for me, Ray, I'm weird with how I look at my offensive lineman. Again, I'm not the greatest evaluator, but when I look at the interior, I look more run block. When I look at the tackles, I look at more pass protection. I don't know if that's right to do it like that, but I kind of lean toward that, both of those in there. So it kind of makes sense.
I mean, I think, honestly, in today's NFL, if we're talking about NFL, I mean, in college, but more in the NFL, when you pass protect, that's more prevalent than run blocking.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, here's the thing, though. I mean, saying that, I like teams that run the ball.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. All right, number 4, Ray. Who you got?
Luke Kandra from Cincinnati. This guy is one of my sleeper guys, even though I like him much better than a lot of other people like him. I think he's going to be taken day 2, maybe late second round, early third round. But I think he's the one guy on Cincinnati's offensive line. I believe he is a senior, so he's been there for 3 years, going on his 4th year, and he's been a good player for 3 of those 4 years. So,
Nice. That's awesome, man. I got number 4. I got a guy we were just talking about, Tyler Booker from Alabama. Another reason why I was kind of asking about Alabama was because, their offensive line wasn't that good last year, and, he got his opportunity because of somebody getting benched. But when he did get the opportunity, he played really well. He was one of the few bright spots on that offensive line. He was probably the only offensive line that did well against Michigan that game, man. So, everybody else, I just was like very disappointed in them. I mean, don't get me wrong, Michigan has a really good defensive line. You got a guy that's probably gonna be a first round pick this year, but I just think that they struggled last year. But I like Tyler Booker out of all of them that was in there. Played really well. When I looked him up and I was like, oh yeah, he did. He had a solid game against Michigan. It wasn't pretty for any of them. Don't get me wrong, but he was pretty solid in there for sure.
he's very good at running the ball. His pad level is really good for a guy who's 6'5".
Yeah.
I do like him. I actually have him a little bit higher than you do, so I do like him. And again, man, when anybody played Michigan last year, I kind of take that with a grain of salt because Michigan dominated like both sides of the line of scrimmage. So if you did good against Michigan, that's a plus. If you didn't do good against Michigan, I'm going to watch the whole game and try to put it in context. You know what I mean? So,
I agree. All right, who you got at number, what we at, 3?
3. I have Tate Ratledge from Georgia, another kid who's very athletic. What I look for when I look at offensive linemen is I look for athleticism and continuity. Now, you can say, well, yeah, if you're continuity, but I like guards that can pick up the blitz, that can step outside and take on a defensive end if he has to, who moves inside, who's going to be quick enough now. And he's a 310, 315, so he's pretty athletic, 6'6", kind of tall for a guard, but he's very athletic and moves very well, very good at pulling out and playing for the run. So, again, I like Ratledge. I like Georgia's offensive line. I didn't like them. I don't like them as much as I like Alabama's, but I do think their offensive line is good.
Yeah, right. We got that one together at the same spot. Tate Rattler from Georgia. Yeah, really solid guy. Another reason why, in the beginning of this podcast, we just discussing Alabama and Georgia as, 2 teams that potentially have a really good offensive line. And those 2 players that we just mentioned, man, are part of that reason. So I agree with you, right, for sure. And number 2.
I have Tyler Booker at number 2 from Alabama.
Okay. Nice.
I'm a fan of Tyler Booker. I do think his play weight needs to be trimmed down to about 330. Right now he's listed at 350. That's too much for an offensive guard, dude. Yeah. And I think here's the thing. When you're at Alabama and you're mauling people, you're fine. But when you get against better defensive lines, you're going to have to play with a little bit more athleticism than he does at 350.
30%. Yeah. So, we'll definitely see, man. I feel like
you remember last year, like you said, Alabama's offensive line played okay, but Tyler Booker, especially against Michigan, really struggled because them guys were doing it. They were bringing quicker guys inside and taking advantage of how slow he was off the snap sometimes. Yeah. But I do like him. I like his power base. I think he's a good athlete. I just think he needs to trim down 20 pounds.
Yeah. I agree with that. All right. My number 2 guy is Donovan Jackson from Ohio State. Again, don't like talking about Ohio State in the good light. So, Ray, I'm going to let you do it, honors.
I'm a fan. I'll just let the cat out of the bag. I have Donovan Jackson at number 1. I think as a athletic, and this is what I mean, like he picks up the blitz remarkably well. He'll switch out and take on edge rushers if he has to. He's always thinking and he's a smart kid who's always thinking about where he needs to be. You could tell because he never misses a block.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So, I mean, and again, he's 6'4", 320, so he's got the athleticism. Could probably play guard or center if you really needed him to. But I think that, honestly, again, Jerome, technically, he is so good, it's ridiculous.
Definitely. No, I agree. All right, I'm gonna go to my number one guy. This guy, Ray, you might not know who he is or not heard of him that much actually, but he was a All-American freshman. Played a little bit last year, got injured, so he actually got redshirted. So he's actually still a sophomore. Played really, really well. Looking forward to see how he plays because when he did play last year, how many games did he play? He played 4 games last year. He was outstanding even when he was playing. He was actually awarded the most explosive offensive. He was awarded the offensive most explosive award at his team banquet, which tells you a lot about him. The team really does like him. When he was a freshman, I was hearing all about him. I'm putting him at my number one just based on potential, based on what I've heard about him. But Brycer Foster, right, from Texas A&M, really like the way he played as a freshman, right? You would have thought he was already in the NFL. He was destroying guys, offensively, being able to block really well. Like I said, he started all 12 games as a freshman, and he was awarded the freshman award, the player of the year that year. The athletic freshman All-American first team that year, SEC All Freshman team. He played extremely, extremely well, man, especially for a freshman. So I'm super excited to see what he does in the future. I think that he's one of those guys that will, and maybe if I did a rising star, he would have been on my rising star list, but I didn't make one. But I really do think he is a really mauler. Tell me what you know about Bryce Foster, right?
I know he's a good solid athlete. He's a better pass protector than a run blocker right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that he's got the arm length, and I think he could probably play guard and center. So I think he's an interesting prospect. And I've seen him play some games. I just want to see him play more. That's all.
100%. Yeah, I understand that. Like I said, when I do college, it's more of potential, especially if they're that early in their years. I try to do a little bit more potential than actual how good they are, and I think his potential is really high. Like, he got a really high ceiling. So I'm looking forward to see what he does. The only reason he's playing extremely well outside of him being injured. You know what I'm saying? So I think he played a full season last year. I think me and you both will probably have him at number one right now. But he got injured. He did get a freshman. He got injured early enough for him to get redshirted, which is a good thing that he got more eligibility now because of that. But definitely looking forward to seeing what he does as well. I'm sorry, he actually played last year. It was the year before that.
It was the year before, yeah. Last year, I think he played 11 games.
Yeah. He played all.
He was very good. He's very good. Again, I think that it's not that I saw him play a decent amount of games last year. I saw him struggle against Oklahoma.
Okay.
But I mean, that's Oklahoma, and they're a pretty athletic front usually. So it wasn't like he wasn't playing against somebody good. I think he's a good player. I don't know enough about him to say that I think he's an elite player right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when he was a freshman, I was able to watch.
I remember when he was coming out. I think it was 2 years ago. I think he was like a 4-star prospect.
Yeah.
Which I don't put a lot of weight on that. It was a 24/7 evaluation. They're usually half decent. They do have favorites like everybody else, but they're usually half decent.
Okay. Yeah. So that's my guy right there. All right, Ray, let's get to your rising stars. Who you got right there?
I've Gus Hartwig from Purdue, a senior, 6'5", 315 pounds, can play guard and center. I prefer to play him at center but I can see where teams would be interested in him playing guard, especially if you're a power-based offense. Mm-hmm. But I like Hartwig. I think he's a very interesting kid. And Purdue's offensive line was really good last year. He was one of the guys that were really good. So
yeah, definitely. Now, like I said, I don't have a writing start, but I would love to hear your insight on some of the stuff. So since you got plenty of time going and kind of go through this, I want to ask you some questions real quick, right? Because we might have some casual fans or fans like myself that don't watch offensive line as much. I know about offensive linemen, but I don't study them as much as you. I don't think I'll buy them as well as you do. Can you tell us what's the difference between each position? Start from center, guard, and tackle. Like, what's some of the nuances, some difference? Because I think most people just look at them like, oh, they're just blocking. And I know that it's not just blocking.
Obviously, you want athletes for sure. You want guys that are big and physical for sure. You want as much arm length as you can. And to me, Jerome, that is what determines if they play outside or if they play inside. Yeah, some of it is height. If you're a center, you don't want to be any taller than 6'5", but you don't really want to be much shorter than 6'2", maybe. But if you're a guard, you want to be, again, you want guys that are quick and agile. But you could have guys in there a little bit more of a Michigan type power-based offensive lineman. But I think, again, like, what would determine that is if you can move in space. The difference between an elite guard and elite tackle is really mind-numbing. Like, people think, oh, it's not that big. It's a big deal because if you're an elite tackle, you have to have really, really quick feet. Yep. You can get away with having okay feet at guard, especially if you're powerful. Like Powers Johnson. Here's a guy right there. He has good feet. Don't have great feet, but his power and strength base is just ridiculous. Yeah. So he plays inside. Mm-hmm. I also can guarantee most guys that play in the NFL on the offensive line play tackle in high school. Correct. And then they adjust and move inside. Some of these guys are playing tight end and then moving into tackle. Mm-hmm. To me, you want elite athletes. That's why a guy like Jason Peters is like, he's still playing football because not only does he have the elite size, he's got maybe the best set of feet of almost any tackle. Him and the other, whoever it is, you name elite tackles, they all have great feet. Quick moving feet.
It doesn't hurt that he used to play tight end. Yeah, Jason Peters used to play tight end. Yeah, Lane Johnson.
Actually, the crazy thing is he was drafted as a tight end, and Seattle turned him into a tackle.
Yep. That's
great foresight. It really is. To see that athleticism, but you see guys you do see that now. Guys that are playing tight end. The kid that Notre Dame just recruited, the kid they just got drafted. Uh-huh. He was a tight end in high school. Yeah, played tight end his whole life, and then now we're going to move him to tackle. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, you got Lane Johnson, who used to be a quarterback, and I think he played.
Yes. Well, that's what I mean. Like usually, plus that's the other thing. Offensive linemen are usually intelligent. Mm-hmm. Some of that will be determining how good they are also. Yeah. But again, an elite guard needs to be quick. Right. Jason Kelsey isn't the extreme, but the more athletic you are, man, I don't care where you're at. The better.
Well, explain that to them because I don't think a lot of people understand why guards are the ones that need to be athletic. I understand, but what is it about guards that need to be athletic?
Because if you're going to pull, which means you're going to come from your side and then move to the other side and block either the A or the B gap, you have to be quick enough to do that. No. That's why a guy like Jason Kelsey, who plays center, and there are other guys that do it, but they're very few centers that can get out and pull and block. Mm-hmm. Because usually when you're a center, you're getting pushed around, you're getting hit by somebody. But when you're quick enough that you can get off your feet and the snap count, that's probably the most important thing. how quick are you at getting off the snap? I mean, that's really, and that don't matter if you're an offensive lineman or defensive lineman. The quicker you get off the snap, the quicker you're going to be, which is again why athleticism matters.
Definitely. Now, explain the center position, because unlike the guards and the tackles, the center is the one that's holding the ball first. They gotta quickly snap their head up, snap the ball correctly, get it to the quarterback, either if they're under the center shotgun, and generally you have your center who's called off the protections. So can you kind of go through all that as well?
Again, that's why you need a guy in there who's really intelligent, that knows everything and sees everything that's going on around him. Again, you can be a different type. You could be a Jason Kelsey and be a very athletic guy and do that, or you could be a power guy. As long as you have the intelligence to call protections and all that. And no one likes like a guy who always needs help.
Correct.
Then those types of centers are a dime a dozen. They're backups. They're smart. They're just not athletic enough to do all the work. So you'll have those guys on your team. And I don't want to kill anybody, but I forget the one center that the Eagles had. And Miami's had a bunch of these guys that were always Tim Ruddy, who were good football players, but always needed help from a guard. Those guys they're fine, but you prefer they were backups. That's all. I mean, like you have a center who he has to be able to call protections. He has to be able to. Here's the thing: he has to be able to snap the ball consistently, and because of the way teams throw the ball, he has to be able to shotgun it.
Was it Jamal Jackson?
Jamal Jackson, Hank Fraley.
Good
football player, but always needed a little help when guys were blitzing. Always.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with those guys, but they're good, and they're good on 80% of the plays. But every once in a while, you get that guy blitzing, and he'd always need help.
100%. Yeah. So last question. We talked about the center position. We talked about really good centers. Some of the better ones, and two of them that we all know Jason Kelsey, obviously, Eagle legend, known for the Super Bowl rant and how popular he got, and then him and his brother got the podcast, and now his brother's dating, who I don't want to say in the podcast, but his popularity went up. But like you got like another center that's kind of like that, where you had Jeff Saturday, smaller kind of center, very athletic, played for Peyton Manning was behind him. I want to know, what is it about the center position, because you can get a really small one, that's athletic, that can do that, and obviously that's a little bit of an outlier with those two, but then you got like the bigger one, and why don't you want a big guy at center too?
Well, the reason why you wanted a big guy at center before was because most teams just ran the ball.
Yeah.
And the center was the only thing he worried about. Again, I'm going back 30, 40, 50 years, but all they had to do was snap the ball and just push people around. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like a guy like Jim Otto, even Mike Webster, for the, Chuck Bednarik, those guys were just maulers, dude. They would just snap the ball and just get after the interior of the defensive line and just push people around. Mm-hmm. Now you get guys like Jason Kelsey, a Dwight Stevenson, a Owen Krutz, a Kevin Milwai. They're the guys, to me. Jeff Saturday's the most overrated center I've ever seen in football. That's my opinion. I think if he didn't play with Peyton Manning, you wouldn't even know who he was. But he's probably going to go in the Hall of Fame one day because you played with Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, he's a smart guy, and he's not a bad athlete, but he's not good enough at anything to me to be a Hall of Famer. But I know he's going to go in one day because of his reputation. Yeah. But like I just named Darmonte Dawson. I'm naming guys that are like Hall of Fame guys. So they did everything right. They were big, they were strong, they were athletic, and like everything else, they're the best guys. Again, Jeff Saturday is an undersized guy who was a solid athlete who played with Peyton Manning.
Definitely.
Who was calling the protections in that set? The quarterback or the center?
Quarterback, definitely.
Okay. All right, so how smart was he really? The only thing I know about Jeff Saturday is he got chewed out by Peyton Manning a lot and took every word of it. I know that, okay? That's why he's going to go to Hall of Fame one day.
He definitely did. Everybody thinks Peyton Manning was a sweet dude. He was giving it to you.
No great quarterback is always a nice guy, dude. None. Zero. And if they are, then that's what they're going to win too, dude, okay? Zero. You think Peyton Manning, you think Tom Brady didn't yell at guys? You think Joe Montana didn't yell at guys?
Yeah.
There's a way of doing it too, man. On the field, you can say whatever you want. Yeah. It's off the field. In the locker room, you don't disrespect people there.
Right.
All right? You think Andy Reid doesn't yell at his players? People think, oh, Andy Reid's a big coach. Andy Reid cares about three things: winning football games, you playing on Sunday, and winning football games.
100%. I agree. But that was great insight, Ray. I appreciate you breaking that down for us and getting us your insight of some of the positions and things like that. So that's going to wrap up our offensive line segment of theirs. If you haven't, offensive position as a group as college football. So if you haven't seen our last couple of installments, make sure you go back on YouTube. You can find that right under Ray and that little QR code, and you can go look at the ones we did before. Like we said, we did quarterbacks, running backs, one podcast. Our last podcast before that, we did wide receivers and tight ends, and then today we did the offensive line. So next week we're going to be doing defense. But before we move off of defense, Ray, I want to ask you, college football right now, obviously, we're waiting for the season to start. It's not a lot going on. We just got pretty much the freshmen coming in and just moving in, things like that. That's going on right now. Obviously, the biggest news right now, obviously, in college football, obviously, one is recruiting. That's a big thing. That's, recruiting is going on right now. But the other thing is, the position battles, I want to know, what's your thoughts on some of the offensive position battles that's going on in the college football? Any position battle kind of intriguing right
now? No, not really, Drum. Just basically who's going to replace the quarterbacks that left. That's usually, we talked about Jaden Daniels earlier. Who's going to replace the guys that were really the elite quarterbacks. That's why I think people are not going to – dude, I think Alabama's going to be good this year. I think their offense is going to be different this year. I think they're going to be excited that it's going to be different this year. I think their offensive line is going to be better this year because I think they're going to be relying more on athleticism than guys just mauling guys all the time. Right. I think Georgia is going to be a good team again. I like their quarterback. I think he's going to be good. Do I think he's going to be elite right away? I don't know that. We'll find out. If I had to predict who was going to be the better teams this year, a lot of it, like every other year, depends on quarterback play. That's why I favor Alabama, because I saw their quarterback improve last year, week after week after week. Now, can he take another step and become an elite thrower of the ball or a passer? I shouldn't say thrower of the ball, because he can throw the ball far, but he can't throw it accurately, consistently.
My thing about Alabama is I want to know how the team as a whole is going to react not having Nick Saban. I mean, having a guy like that for years, the legend, people have the utmost respect for him. I'm not saying they, Kalen, I say his last name again. The new coach, Kalen, Cabal? Well, I forgot his last name. The one that came from Washington.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that he's not going to be a good coach. I think he can be a good coach for Alabama. It's just that the culture that Nick Saban had for years and the respect that he had, if he said something, it's going to go, And not every player is like that kind of style of coaching and stuff like that. But I know all the players have respect for him, so they're going to take it. I wonder how the dynamic of, the new coach coming in and trying to get to that level where he's instructing these players, telling them what to do. Are they going to still listen? Like, oh, Nick Saban's not here no more. You're not Nick Saban. Like, I wonder how that's going to happen. I know it's kind of a new team, kind of a fresh team, and all that. But there's still kind of players there that are like that. You know what I mean? If something kind of goes wrong a little bit, maybe not scoring like they used to or playing defense like they used to, how that dynamic
You just mentioned the key part, the defense. What is the defense going to look like? I think the offense will be better. I do. I think it's going to be better than it was under Saban. I think DeBoer is going to spread things out. He's going to use the athleticism of his players. I think he's going to rely on the quarterback more than people think. But I think the question will be with Alabama is, what is their defense going to look like? What is their fronts going to look like? Are they going to be as dominant as they've been? Probably not, because that was Nick Saban's cup. You know, that was his baby.
Right.
So we'll see where that goes. I'm not worried about the offense.
Okay.
I do have some of my worries about the defense. And we know Georgia's going to play good defense, so that's maybe where they kind of stick it to Alabama in the end. You know?
Yeah. Interesting. That's gonna be fun looking at that for sure. What's your thoughts on Michigan, man? I want to know. You know, I think they're gonna have a good defense, and we're gonna talk about defense in a little bit. But offense is a question. Obviously, the quarterback position, wide receivers is a little fresh. I know we got a couple of guys that a lot of people don't know that's on the team that, you know, I think they're gonna be able to, like, really good players that are gonna be stepping up. But what's your overall thought on Michigan and their offense?
The opposite of Alabama. I think their defense is going to be good. What is their offense going to look like? Because they lost a lot of players on offense, dude, including the quarterback.
Yeah.
And, you know, like J.J. McCarthy was a good player for them. So it's not I never, like, no one should say he wasn't good. If he wasn't good, he wouldn't have been drafted where he was at. So he was very good. Again, I don't worry about their offense because I think they'll still be physical up front. I just want to see what it looks like first before I can put my stamp on anything.
I agree. There's a lot of question marks on that. I do know we got a highly athletic quarterback, and I'm not really used to that. Like, I'm used to our quarterbacks being pass pro first, passing type of quarterbacks first, and then use their athletic ability. We got Alex Orji most likely going to start in the beginning of the season. Unless Jaden Daniel does, which some people think that might happen. And Jaden Daniels actually more on the lines of can run, but more of a passer. Alex Orji is more of an athlete that can pass. So I'm curious to see how they kind of like work the offense for him if he is going to be definitely be the starter. My prediction is he's going to be the starter though. So, you know, you got him, Donovan Edwards, who's a home run running back. Had some struggles in the beginning of the season last year, but really came on at the end, you know, in that rotation. So sometimes when you're in that rotation, you kind of need to, you know, you need to get going. And sometimes that backup running back don't really get going as much because he's not getting them some carries. You know, Blake Corum was an incredible running back for us. He actually got athlete of the year award. I think he did yesterday or today, which is pretty cool. I think the offensive line is still going to be really intact. We always get really good offensive linemen, and I think, you know, we lost a lot of talented players on that offensive line, and the offensive line is almost, I think, not almost all new. I think I think the whole offensive line is new. So I definitely want to see that, but, you know, we got a really good tight end, solid receivers, really good running back, athletic quarterback. So it's more of, unlike Alabama, which, you know, we were more worried about the defense, but they have an offensive coordinator as a quarterback. A coach. This team has a offensive-minded coach who's going to be, you know, on an offense that's questionable. So I think that's the bright spot in there. You know, Moore did a really good job of the offense last year. So I want to see how that goes. But also some of the coaches on defense has been changed, you know. Lost our guy out there. So, and we'll get into defense, but I just wanted to see what you thought about that.
I just think that, again, on offense, they're going to depend on Donovan Edwards, I believe, a lot. Tight end is good. Offensive line should be solid. You got to see what you got there. The receivers, I think, are fine. I think Michigan's receivers are good. I think I'm surprised to see if they use them a little differently than they have in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think some of it is similar to Alabama in the fact that Michigan under Jim Harbaugh was very pro-style offense. Are they going to – and they ran some spread, but they still were a base power, pro style offense.
Correct.
Are they going to be like Alabama and look different now on offense and spread things out a little bit more? I think
That's
they should.
Yeah.
I think if they're smart, they should do that. I
Yeah.
think that when you're not going to be as physical as you were last year because your offensive line is not going to be quite as good. So I think you should spread teams out a little bit more. I think Michigan's defense is going to be fine.
Yeah.
They recruit good defensive players. They usually have pretty good defense every year. I mean, I still like Derek Moore, Mason Graham. I think they're good football players on their defensive line. I think their defense is going to be fine. I just want to see what their offense looks like.
I agree. No, I agree. I agree with that because, and I like what you said about doing a more spread offense because you got Donovan Edwards who can catch out of the backfield too.
Correct. And plus, I think when you run, people don't understand sometimes. When you run at a spread offense, that means you create creases by running out of the spread offense.
Correct.
When you run power and everything is kind of locked up inside, then you have to have guys that can push people around. And that was great because you have Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards were off of that. But now you're going to be more like move things around, because Donovan Edwards is honestly he's a more talented player than Blake Corum as far as athleticism. Will he be as good a player? No, because Blake Corum was a meat and potato guy. He was the kind of guy you put your hat on and you know what he's going to give you. Donovan Edwards has the ability to be more explosive though, and give you that 40-yard gain. Yeah. Corum is going to give you 3, 5, 7, 8. Donovan Edwards can give you 15, 20 if you blink your eyes. Oh, yeah. And a spread offense, maybe even a little easier than they did last year.
Very much so. Yeah, and then you got an athletic runner. I mean, you got an athletic quarterback back there as well. That might open some creases as well. So,
and again, here's the thing: like a jet sweep with a Frederick Moore, I think that'd be a nice look for them if they can do stuff like that. Again, if you spread things out, you open up lanes to run through, and then you got to block one guy. What Michigan did was harder the last couple of years because they were blocking 2 or 3 guys with 1 or 2 guys, and they were making it work because they were that physical. Yeah. And when you play defense like Michigan did last year, and you're leaning on guys the way they were leaning on teams last year, and your offense is out there 35, 40 minutes, your defense doesn't have to do as much.
That's true. That's true. Very true. Thank you for saying that. Made me feel a little bit better. I got one more question. Again, since we're talking about offense, we're going to be talking about defense a lot more next couple of weeks. But speaking of a defense player, I don't know if you heard this right, but recently transferred safety cornerback Caleb Downs. Obviously, he's from Alabama, a Georgia guy. He went to Mill Creek down here, so one of the state heroes, if you will. Played really well. Alabama almost had a pick six against Michigan in that game actually. Just transferred to Ohio State, and they're talking about possibly using him at running back as well. With some of the depth concerns with Ohio State. I want to know what's your thoughts on that. Playing the guy, both ways, not only just both ways, but one at running back, one at corner or safety, if you will.
I look at it 2 ways. It will help him as a teammate. It won't help him in draft, though.
Yeah.
So you can think what you want. Play corner, dude. You play for 10 years. Play running back, you play for 5. Nice. Get get some carries in college. It's fine. Same thing with the corner that's playing now with Colorado. Great football player, man. But you're going to make your money as a corner. So play the corner. Do your running back and like with the kid with Colorado. Do your thing out there out wide because you're a talented player, and I'm sure he's going to be good at either one. But dude, play corner. And you're talking about a guy that doesn't value cornerbacks that much, but they get paid. And that's all I know about it. And running backs do not.
Yeah.
And why would you get the snap beat out of you if you don't have to?
My issue with that, because like the big thing that they're saying is like, oh, he's gonna be sparing, he's gonna be coming in and out. I get that, but what if you pick Caleb Downs in and one of the more physical positions and on offense is running back, and if he's gonna be your starting safety and you're gonna have him run inside, have him get banged up, and then go right back on defense. That's kind of
Here's the problem, Rome. And I'll go back to the Colorado wide receiver. If you remember last year, he had some games where he would light up a team on offense, and then they would turn the ball over, and then he couldn't play defense then. He had to wait 2 or 3 snaps.
And that
Don't do that with your elite players, man. Sorry.
And in my opinion, that's different because at wide receiver, it's more, hey, I'm getting tired out there. You're not getting banged up as much.
Correct. Well, that's the thing. At wide receiver, you're going to be tired. At running back, you can be beat up.
Yep.
I mean, I don't like that move. Again, you want to give me 5 carries, help out the team. I'm good with that. You want to extend it to 10 or 15? I don't know about that.
Yeah. Especially if you're going to be starting on both sides. Man.
Yeah, man. We know Ohio State just wants to win games. Good for them. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I know the coach has a lot of pressure this year. So
I heard about that too because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, he's just doing this because he got a lot of pressure on him. He got to figure out something."
No, there's no doubt about that, Jerome. Mm-hmm. He can't lose after the talent that Michigan lost and the way they beat up teams last year. He can't afford to lose to Michigan again this year, dude. He can't.
Yeah.
If he loses to Michigan again, coming off of last year, I'd be surprised if he's back. I mean, I know. Did he re-sign a contract? He may just sign a contract, though, right?
I think he did right in the beginning of last season.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Like that.
I mean, I know it's college football. Who cares? A couple million here, a couple million there. I get it. But I think, honestly, you can't – if he loses to Michigan this year, dude, I'd be surprised if they don't make a move. I would. I don't care how much money they owe him. I don't think they care about that. I don't.
There was big rumblings about him possibly not coming back last year or this year.
Well, the last 2 years. But again, Michigan was the team last year, and the fact that they won everything makes it look like, okay, well, we played with them at least for 3 quarters. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Same thing with Penn State. Penn State can say, Michigan was great last year, and we played with them until my coach was an idiot. But that's part of the thing, though, dude. Like, you can't – Michigan last year did not – don't get me wrong. They score a lot of points in certain games. Well, what Michigan did was try to just beat you up and wear you down and dominate you at the end of the game when it mattered.
Oh, yeah, you can tell during that Washington game. That was exactly the game plan in itself.
Hey, Washington was overmatched and overwhelmed in that game, dude.
Mm-hmm. Fourth quarter, you just seen it as like, the air is out. The air is out.
This is over. Yeah. As soon as Michael Penix started getting up and grabbing his chest, you're like, this game is over.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just wanted to ask you about that because, I know you compared Travis Hunter to Caleb Downs. I just think it's a little bit different when you're playing corner and wide receiver. It's more of like you said, it's more stamina where, running back and safety is more getting banged up, especially if you're playing safety, because I think he's listed as a safety, not corner. You're playing safety, you're hitting people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're playing one of the more physical positions on defense and probably the most physical position on offense, except for all offensive linemen, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting beat up on every play. I mean, to me, it's still like the same thing. Like, it could be worse for him because he could get one carry where he really gets his bell rung. And then what good is he to you on defense?
Correct.
I don't get it. I don't. Again, couple carries here, couple carries there. It's fine. I wouldn't do it long term. I wouldn't even. If I'm a defensive player, dude, and it's funny coming from me because I'm always a team first guy.
Correct.
But to me, here's the thing though, Jerome. I could be a team first guy and understand if this guy's an elite player at safety, then he's valuable to me. I don't want him off the field.
I agree.
Same thing with a corner. I got an elite corner. Why would I want to take him off the field? Why?
Yeah. I agree. I mean, that's some of the problems they were having with Travis last year. So
I mean, he was really talented and had a couple of really great games.
Yeah.
But you could see
that's the part I never
receivers. But again, I understand he's got good speed. He'll make a couple long plays for you. I get it. But then what is he? Where is he on defense? Is he going to be banged up or miss a series or miss too many snaps? I mean, I don't think it's worth it.
I agree.
I think you have an elite. There's certain positions: defensive line, corners, safeties. If you have an elite player there, man, you kind of just leave them alone.
Yeah,
As they say, leave them on the island by themselves and let them do their thing.
correct.
Don't make them worry about too many other things because they're that good at that position.
100%.
You know?
Yeah, and I think the whole thing was like, oh, he's gonna be the next Jabril Peppers. I'm like, he is a big guy. Don't get me wrong, he's a bigger guy, so he can play that role. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it, but
Okay, if you have a Jabril Peppers, why would you want to play him at running back then?
yeah. By the way, Jabril Peppers only played like 5 snaps on offense, and if he did play on offense, he was a decoy at the time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, the only player I can really remember was the cornerback that went to Michigan to win the Heisman.
Oh, Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson. He actually made splash plays against big teams in big games on offense and was a shutdown corner.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, even him though, Jerome, he probably got like 5 snaps a game. Now they were impactful. They were. But you don't take a guy like that who's the best corner in college football and let's not try to slam a square peg into a round hole, you know?
I agree.
All right.
Well, one last question, right? Not football related at all, but I wanted to ask you how you felt about your team. Listen, I don't follow baseball like that, but
The Phillies?
Phillies are doing good, man. Number one in the
They lost today, but they're playing very good baseball. How do I feel about them? I feel like they're one of the best teams in baseball right now.
Nice.
They have good pitching. They have enough hitting. I will feel better about them when they play the Dodgers and the Braves.
Correct.
I'll keep it real.
Definitely. I want to see how that goes, man. Because again, I don't typically follow baseball until October. Obviously, too many games for me to watch, and then by the time I start getting interesting football starts, I don't really pay attention. But I'm always rooting for Phillies. That's my team. Again, I don't follow them like that, but when they're in the playoffs, man, I'll be rooting for them. So I think in our podcast,
how you are with that is how I am with basketball and hockey. Basically, now I used to be a huge hockey fan when I was a kid, but if the Flyers and the Sixers aren't good, I don't pay attention to them sports. I don't.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Yeah. Baseball and football, I can watch any two teams play. It don't matter.
Gotcha.
I mean, but if it's not the Sixers, I'm not paying attention. If it's not the Flyers, I'm not paying attention to it.
Definitely.
I'm the weird person because I'm from this area and I root for all the local teams. I don't really root for the Eagles, which kind of makes me a little bit of a weirdo.
The one you like the most, you don't follow the local team.
The most popular team around here, I don't really follow.
Yeah, exactly. You see.
I see.
Now.
I don't. It's weird because, like, here's the thing, though, Jerome. This is weird, though. Like, I could pretend like I'm a fan of any team in the league if I wanted to, because I can tell you about every team in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy. Like, even with I probably know more about the teams in the NFL than their own fans do. Not all of them. Not like you.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, not like you about the Eagles or Mike Ryan about the Rams, but like most general fans, I know as much or more than they do about their own teams.
I came to that realization about Eagles fans when it was that whole Carson Wentz Nick Foles thing. I was like, okay. Now, granted, both sides lost in that really, but during the time, I feel like it was
you're always going to have fans that side with a certain player just because of whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And that's fine. I just think and most fans do this, which drives me crazy. They overvalue their players.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Most fans do that. That drives me bananas. But it is what it is.
100%. Yeah, I would say this. Our Super Bowl year, I was not expecting us to win the Super Bowl. That was like the one year I was
that was a weird year, though, man, because your lines were both very good, and then you kind of added some pieces, and it kind of completed the puzzle. Honestly, when you traded for Jay Ajayi, that was the last piece of the puzzle. The one weakness the Eagles had that year was depth at running back.
Yeah.
They had Clemens, who played good football for them, and they had the other guy they signed from New England, who was a good player, but I can't remember his name.
LeGarrette Blount.
LeGarrette Blount. They had them two guys. They kind of like Blount would play first and second down. They'd bring Clemens in on third down. But when you got a Jahi, it gave you someone who kind of did both and did it at a pretty high level before his knees wore out. And
that was a weird year because you gotta remember, like, LeGarrette Blount was our starting running back.
He was just starting running back.
Rookie running back behind him, and then we was just like, you know what, let's get an extra piece and get a Jahi. But beforehand, it was Blount and Clemens as a back. You know who's the two running backs before though? Yeah, Derek Sproles. Derek Sproles is in that mix. So I forgot about Derek Sproles.
Oh yeah, Sproles. Yeah. Which, but you know what, dude? Like,
yeah, he wasn't a starter though. But you know who was
that year?
Huh?
I think Darren Sproles got hurt that year and didn't play the whole year.
Yeah, he got hurt at the end or mid.
He got hurt somewhere in that season and didn't finish out the year, dude. I'm pretty sure. Because when they got a Jahi, Clemens became the total third down back.
So the running back we had before that was DeMarco Murray and then LaShawn McCoy.
Wow. Yeah, I remember Lamar, dude. Talk about a guy that cashed in on 1 year, dude. He had one good year for Dallas, dude, and cashed in.
Horrible. And I felt so weird about getting him. I was like,
dude, that was when you knew Chip Kelly didn't know nothing about about evaluating NFL players.
Yeah.
You can't let him run your team, dude. You can't. He can't evaluate pro players, dude.
What's he doing now?
And I understand you can't kiss the rear end either, but dude, his first year here, and I mean, we're really getting a long talk about this, but his first year here, he ran the offense with Shady McCoy and what's his name, the wide receiver, and then traded both of them back-to-back years.
It's crazy. Like he was UCLA's head coach.
Yeah.
He get fired?
No, he quit, dude. Now is he the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
No, he resigned, dude. Dude, I think he was in one of them things where they're going to get some sanctions against him or something again. I don't know that though. Dude, but honestly, he's really doing what he should be doing. He really is only suited to be an offensive coordinator, to be honest with you. He's a good offensive mind. Yeah. He just doesn't know what kind of players he wants to use from game to game sometimes.
So what happened was, I'm reading it right here. Apparently, he made a mistake on his end. He was trying to get back in the NFL, so he resigned from UCLA.
Okay, and it didn't happen.
Tried to become a offensive coordinator in the NFL. I guess he was one of the leading candidates somewhere. It's not saying where. He didn't get the job.
You know what I think also, Jerome? That partly he thought that maybe what's his name? Because you know that Belichick loved Chip Kelly. Mm-hmm. I think he thought maybe Belichick would get a job somewhere and he would go there.
Oh, true. Wow, yeah. He took a big risk.
Talk about a guy that fell off of a cliff, man. This guy was 5 years ago was one of the most respected offensive minds in football, period.
Oh, yeah.
5 to 8, whatever it was, before he came to Philadelphia, dude. Mm-hmm. He was one of the most respected offensive minds in football, period.
Yeah, Oregon.
Dude, that Oregon team was phenomenal, man. Like, they never won, but they were always exciting. They always scored a lot of points. They always won a lot of games. Again, dude, coming off of that, people were talking about him like
destroy everything.
Dude, people talked about him like he was the next big thing on offensive football, dude.
Yeah.
And his concepts are interesting, dude. They really are. But in the NFL, you can't run an offense like that. Not down the down, dude. You just can't.
Yeah, correct.
You can't. And you can't talk to people like they're children in the NFL.
And start trading people and cutting people for no reason. I mean,
you can't be that reactionary. Do you think Andy Reid doesn't get mad at like Nicole Hardman and that the kid from Florida last year when he was offsides? Of course he did, but he never told anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure he went in there and chewed their asses out, but you never heard nothing about it.
Yeah.
Until what's his name at the end of the year when the kid from Florida, I can't remember his name now. He was pissed, dude, because he didn't make the playoff roster.
Mm. Oh, Darius Tony.
Yeah, he didn't make the playoff roster, and he was very pissed off about that.
Oh, yeah.
But dude, you can't screw up week in, week out.
He's not focused. So
No, like I told you, Andy Reid cares about three things: winning, playing on Sunday, and winning. If you're not helping me do one of them three things, see ya.
for real.
Dude,
But
he's a guy that had Tyreek Hill and had enough faith in himself to say, you know what? Tyreek's a great player, but I can't pay him $30 million a year. Dude. I just can't do it. Not with a quarterback and not with a franchise quarterback like this and an impact tight end and offensive and defensive line all over the place that I got to resign. So he made a bold move, and dude,
it worked out because now that defense looking good. And
defense is great now, and every year they find enough offense to win games.
Yeah. Yep. That was a good decision by them for sure.
Yeah, dude, I love Tyreek Hill, but his baggage is a little bit sometimes of a pain in the ass. I'm not gonna lie about it.
Yeah.
You just go in and start punching guys because you think you're a tough guy. You know? And he does it all the time. Again, a great player, dude, without a doubt. Probably the best. I wouldn't say he's the best receiver in football, but I'd say he's the most explosive player in the league, maybe.
I agree with that for sure. Well, that was gonna do it for us today, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed some of our conversations. You know, we went a little off the rail a little bit, but you know, hey, man, we missed football. It's kind of cool.
Here's the one advantage we have. You hear a lot more about the NFL right now than you do about college, for sure.
100%. So, yeah, man. So we appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for getting on. Once again, we would like to thank Phenom for sponsoring this podcast. If you are in here, once again, go to phenomelitebrand.com if you want to buy the latest gloves, cleats, shirts, you know, and they got more than football. We're just telling you about the football stuff. They got more than football. So if you like athletics or you're an athletic person, if you are an athlete, go to Phenom. Go use our promo code right above Ray's head over there. It is ITH football. You get 10% off of all items. Save that money, man. I know you need save money, bro. Save some money. Grab some stuff, you know, and let us know how you like the items too, man. Let us know in the comment section how you like the items. Also, make sure you go follow us and support us, man. Hit that QR code right under Ray. I have one right behind me. That's going to take you to all our social media. When you go in there, definitely go like and subscribe, man. It really does help and support us. Tell your friends about us. Let them know. And if you haven't seen the other top 5 offensive players list, go check them out, man. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how we did today. And tell us, hey, man, if y'all suck, I know my party did. Hey, let me know. Let me know what I could have did better. Maybe it helps us get better, man. So not opposed to any criticism or, you know, advice. So we do appreciate you guys. So that's going to do it for us today. I'm Jerome Jones. That is Ray Roberts. Thank you guys so much. And we see you on the next one. Peace. If I can find a button. There you go.